Hello, 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 and welcome to Between Two Nerds, your weekly dose of voter education, nerdy information, and democratic inspiration, brought to you by nerdsvote.com. I'm Courtney Taylor,
I'm JP Karliak.
and we're here with an amazing guest, the beautiful and lovely and talented. You know her as Anna Ray and Critis from Destiny 2, Ruth from Cyberpunk 2077, Fortnite, and the internets, because she is a social media maven, the lovely and talented Erika Ishii.
Woo! Awesome.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Compared to you, everything's like so bright and shiny, and then JP's kind of half, and then I'm like dark.
I love yours. You look like you're standing in front of a grand temple or something. You're about to give somebody a quest.
That's right.
Yep.
In my living room. This is my screen that covers the junk.
We've all had to sort of, arrange what is showing in our squares, for all
sure.
of this.
Yeah, everything's a hurricane outside of this room. But yes, Courtney is putting everybody on a grand quest. That's what we do here at the Nerds Vote.
That's right. That's right. We do have a grand quest, actually, and it kind of jumps off of what we were talking about last week with Steve Bloom about, was it Steve Bloom? We were talking with someone. I can't remember. I have no memory anymore, no short-term memory. About finding out who donates to what and where our money goes. And we
did discuss that with Steve Bloom. Mm-hmm.
Yes, a little bit about OpenSecrets.org, which is a database that you can actually go to, and you can find out which companies donate to what. So you can purchase in alignment with your political and social and moral beliefs.
Follow the money and see where it goes.
That's right. Follow the money. So OpenSecrets.org, that is, if you want to go and just check it out, it's a simple, easy quest this week. You don't have to, I'm assuming that you guys are still also calling all your reps and talking about all the things that you want to get done.
Anybody figure out what a filibuster is yet?
You should, because I put it in the pop-ups. So if you watched, then if you watched 2 weeks ago, you should know.
Pop quiz.
I gave you the cliff notes of filibustering. So instead of filibustering right now, see what I did there? I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to chat to Erika. But yeah, OpenSecrets.org. And if you are just joining us for the first time, again, this is Between Two Nerds. We're an offshoot of nerdsvote.com. We like to bring voter information and education and inspiration to the nerd space. We started out at conventions, and then the conventions went away. So now we're here on your screen, on your phone, on your iPad of sorts, your tablet. But we have someone that's way more interesting to talk to than me. So, Erika, hi, how are you?
You guys are so interesting and cool. Oh my god!
Oh, thanks. What specifically?
Oh my god! Like your fashion sense. You guys can't see it now, but like at the cons, these two would show up all dolled up, like the poppin' suits, like the rocker chick, like
I wasn't really fishing, but I'll take it.
The rocker chick has cut all of her hair off. She has no more power. So. You get this.
Oh, Lady Samson.
No, it's so sad. It
looks great though.
By the time we actually leave the house, it was amazing just to get it off because it was a mess. But we are here with the mistress of the undercut. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, I had to learn to draw my own lines because I've been, staying at home, social distancing, and so I can't go to my guy, Ed, who does, like, he did Carolina Rosa's undercut, and her, like, she did sort of like a Sombra stuff because she voices Sombra from Overwatch, and like he would do all this great art for me, and now I've had to learn to sort of like do little lines myself. But soon the vaccine will get rolled out. We can get haircuts and hug our friends, and just go to cons again.
All the things. Yeah.
Freedom. So what have you been doing? I mean, obviously, I just gave away some of your credits that you can actually talk about, and I'm not going to ask the obnoxious question. I'm like, hey, what are you working on? So you can tell me
now. Oh my gosh, it's
break all your NDAs right here, right now.
Oh my gosh, like one of these days, like where I'm just gonna forget. I'm gonna forget. Like I made a spreadsheet so I do not forget. But I am very, 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 very privileged to be working right now, very busy with voiceover. It's just been so wonderful getting to work on amazing projects with just such cool people, with dear friends. And I don't know, it's so wild. It is criminal the amount of fun that I get to have, and that they let me do the things that I do. I love what we do. I love voiceover. And yeah, that's been able to continue throughout all of lockdown, especially video games. Video games are going like gangbusters, and that is sort of my domain. So I've been doing that. I've been very fortunate to do that. I don't know, like, when was the last time we talked? Because I feel like since then I started cultivating my aesthetic. This is my first time sort of living alone, and so I am making this place as I wish it to be. I never had the sort of like design sense or the money to be able to get things for myself. I would just kind of like piecemeal get what I could, and now I can like get some things.
Neon, baby.
Yeah.
Neon sign with the name on it.
Neon sign say?
It says Ishii. That's my last name.
Awesome.
Yeah, rock well.
Very, very cool.
Yes, so this is kind of a do-over because you were one of our people that we didn't get to keep on Instagram. And so I don't think, no.
Nope.
Instagram said no. So ask you, about a little bit about voting, but we're also, since it's a less sexy year, talk a little more about some acting stuff and like your design aesthetic and your cool. You do have a whole different thing. I think the last time we talked to you, everything was like all red. And so yeah, kind of getting there, and now we're going into pink mode, pink and yellow, which I like.
Yeah. There's also other lights. I can tell. Bisexual lighting.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah. Good job, Siri.
I was waiting for music to come on with it, because that is like some fierce ass Tegan and Sarah shit. Like,
oh my god,
love it.
So good. Yes, I'm like King Princess or something. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I gotta work that into the routine. Yeah, that's a good idea. So yeah, I've been very, very fortunate. I think since the last time we talked about this, like, I've started taking antidepressants. Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
Join the club.
I love therapy and better living through chemicals. I am, I'm a naturally very happy person, but like, there was just this chemical imbalance, and I was just always very anxious about things. And like, I was just running really hard on myself, and I feel like myself again, like myself from like a couple years maybe. And so, I will tell everybody and anybody anytime I get a chance, just if you have access to mental health care, please take it. And then I always like to shout out NAMI, the National Association on Mental Illnesses, that they will provide online resources and sort of point you in the right direction for resources. Because 2020 was a hell of a year. It was a hell of a year. Hell of a year. Like, just like personally for most people as well as globally, and everybody's just essentially trying to process shared trauma while living our lives. So,
while living our lives alone without any of the resources that you process trauma with.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is for me, it was always my friends and being out in public and seeing people and going to events and traveling was all sort of, I was that is how I recharged, and that's kind of a very fortunate, privileged thing to do. But like, without any of that, it was real tough. But now, like, things are feeling good. Things are feeling positive. Like, I feel like, everybody I know worked so hard last year to get the vote out, to promote civic engagement, to promote activism, charity, nonprofits. And I feel like we get to see some of the benefits of that this year, and I'm just very grateful to see that, and that everybody like, really, honestly, last year, as you said, it was a sexy year. It was a sexy, busy year.
Yeah, because nothing sexier than trauma.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was in that it was kind of an all hands on deck thing for sure. And now, we're definitely here at Nerds Vote trying to, keep the
momentum going.
Yeah. I've seen a couple people on social media responding to news things being like, oh, I stopped paying attention after Biden got elected. And I was just like, what? No. This is not how it goes, guys. It's not about like you put your, all your effort in for 6 months and then you step out for 4 years or until something happens that you don't like. It's a practice.
Right. It's funny because, I saw a very good argument, and I know this is where we're supposed to sort of remain nonpartisan, on all this.
You do you.
Okay. Because I think most people who know, follow my social media or like know exactly where I stand on everything. I support, Black Lives Matter and science and, I don't know, helping marginalized people. And I don't know, those don't feel like they should be partisan issues. They really don't. But they have been made that in this time. And so I feel like, we were just in constant crisis, like day after day. The news cycle was terrifying. And now it is such a huge leap forward to have an administration that says actively, when asked about climate change, says we are considering it in every aspect of our policy. And again, it should not be a partisan issue, because climate change is something that affects all of us, regardless of party. Global warming don't care what party you're in, and
COVID don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I just want to keep supporting the issues that will push humanity forward, and just help us like get through this, what is still a very difficult time. I saw a very good sort of interpretation of why the idea of sort of like Biden voters aren't like the same as like Biden supporters. We're not like fans of his. We voted for somebody who more closely aligned with our beliefs. We, are supporting somebody who we feel is going to help the country as a whole. And, like we will hold him and his cabinet responsible for the job that they are doing, Correct. It doesn't stop. Like we're not Biden stands. We are Biden voters. We voted for him, and now we want to see him do the job. So yeah, like nobody gets a free pass, like on my watch.
Yeah. Honestly, even if whoever you voted for, again, it's not about like my guy won, and so now I get to just go and do my thing, or my girl won. Go check out. We're all in this boat together, and we all have to row together. Yeah. And so, when people stop paying attention, that's when the wheels fall off. And we talk so much about local engagement on the show, and there are things going on with your neighborhood council, with your state governor, your own, all of the representatives for your state. There's things that are really close to home. And so while it's so important, I think, you touched on the mental health aspect of things. to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and not being inundated by everything and getting burnt out. There is, I mean, the possibility of like, 15 minutes, you get up, you do, you stretch, maybe you do some push-ups, whatever. Maybe you call your reps, you drink some juice or your coffee or whatever, and like just give it 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, to stay engaged. Because all of the things in this garden need to be tended. Now I'm going into like garden, instead of sports analogies, I'm going to do garden. But like, you can't just water one little part or like plant the thing that you wanted and be like, great, we're cool. These things that require engagement, and
democracy is not a succulent.
that is our new T-shirt. Democracy does not succulent.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. And that's a thing that I think you mentioned, getting burned out, and as opposed to getting burned out, to just do 15 minutes a day. And that is something, that I personally had to learn as well, because, you can't do everything. You can't save the world just by yourself. And even if it looks like there's no progress happening currently, it is, and your efforts make a difference. And it is important not to try and just like make it your life, unless you wanted that to be your life. I know I have a friend who decided, she got tired of how things were, so she ran for city council, right? And so she wanted to make that a bigger part of her life. Like, you have to divide, your brain is divided into like, it's a pie with different, how much can you allot to it? You have to allot, like, some people just need to work, like some people need to work, and that is, they need to survive. And that is completely understandable, like maybe you can afford that, like, sort of 15-minute slice to, fire off an email to a rep, or to, maybe you have the money to like donate a couple of dollars to a good nonprofit. But just like in any way, this is for something, I'm sure, did we talk about the D&D party analogy at all?
No, I don't believe we have.
This was my favorite one that I saw during the Black Lives Matter protests in the summer, was that a lot of people were sort of getting burnt out, or were saying like, I'm immunocompromised, so I can't, go out in the front lines and protest. And there was a graphic that said, every adventuring party needs different members. You need, there are fighters, yes, and tanks that will, take the damage in the front lines, or there are, there's the healer that will provide, support and snacks and like hydration for people that need it. Or there's, the patron who will provide money, so, and I forget the exact, like, the bard that will write stories and share words and like art about this movement. And, for every movement, there do need to be different roles that are filled, and right. So I forget the exact analogs that they had for D&D, but really, honestly, we need everything, and I realized, I promised somebody that I wouldn't go out again after a while, because it is not safe right now in Los Angeles to be gathering. It just simply isn't. Right. But, in the meantime, like, I can help provide money to organizations that I support, or, I can boost the signal for things. I can talk with all of you and the people that are doing a lot of the organization work. There's a role for all of us, and it doesn't have to be something that burns you out, know?
It's so funny that you say this, because I literally remember seeing you on social media at some of the Black Lives Matter stuff, and I had my mom living, here, and I am immunocompromised, and so I was like, I don't think I can do that, and so, but watching you do it, I was literally like on its own. It was really inspirational, and the beauty of it was that it kind of brings everything. You doing one thing inspires people to do. Like literally, we had this conversation, my boyfriend and I, where I was just like, I wanted to go do that, and he's like, that's not your job right now. Your job is to do the stuff of like the calling and the organizing. And he's like, you're doing Nerds Vote, every single day, and so you have to take that into consideration, and also you have to take into consideration what your life can hold. What I learned about what people could contribute was that it's a luxury to have the time to be outraged. And so if you or concerned or involved. And so I remember a woman.
The time and the energy.
I remember a woman talking about how she frustrated she was because she had lost both of her full-time jobs. Wow. And I was like, how does a person like that have time to do any of this? So if you are someone that has so little time, then maybe it's not 15 minutes a day for you. Maybe it's 5 minutes on Sundays.
Yeah, or you just retweet something that somebody else sent out,
But be clear on what your contribution is and be loyal to it, so that for me it was about doing my practice of Nerds Vote, of like, once I had that conversation, it was like, okay, this is my part. This is how I'm getting people involved. And that, it's sort of like a charity. Like, do you pick a charity where it's like clean water because everybody needs clean water all over the world? Or do you pick something that's like LGBT or whatever because that's your niche, that's your, sometimes it's water, sometimes it's medical, sometimes it's things that affect everybody, and sometimes it's just the things that affect you. But if you can make that commitment to yourself and then just keep reminding yourself that you're in practice to do that every week, that it is your thing. And so you have kind of a litmus test, so you don't feel lost or you feel like, I'm not contributing something regularly. I just was really entranced with that idea of kind of church, whatever your church is, if it's Sundays, if it's 3 days a week, if it's every single day, that you have this sort of practice that you do.
Yeah. And for some people, it's it's as simple as carrying the ideology and the ethics that they want to see, propagated throughout the country, taking it into their workplace, taking it into their parenting, taking it into their schools.
Oh, sorry, but on that, like, just friends who are like, well, I can't contribute money right now, I can't go out marching or anything, but like, I'm going to talk to all of my relatives that have these wrong-headed points of view. And like, that to me is like such a huge deal, right? It's like taking the time and the emotional energy to sit down and do the work, for other people,
and not screaming at them on Facebook, but actually having like those one-to-one conversations where you try to find common ground. Yeah. That's the hard work.
That are in your family, because, some people are just like, I don't have any of that. Like, I can't imagine having to sit down and have a conversation with my parent about that. That's dangerous. That's out on the skinny branches, because you can do irreparable harm. These are hard conversations to have, right? So everybody contributes as long as they vote and do something else.
Yeah, and honestly, like,
you still gotta vote.
yeah, that's the thing, is it's like voting really does make a difference. It makes such a big difference, and we saw that, and like we saw so much of that last year. Prove that. Well, yeah, it really does make a difference.
Even in New York, just last week, a representative got elected by 109 votes.
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild, and it's like, going out and marching or, protesters, like, that's kind of like sexy, but, I was under no illusions, like, people that are sitting at home and doing the phone trees and, the organizing and stuff, those are the people doing the real hard work. And
it's all hard.
Yeah, it was amazing to see so many people in our community, the voiceover community, just really rally, for everything, talking about politics, which is back in the day. I don't know. You guys were around back in the day where it was like, you don't really want to talk about politics, you like that could prevent you from getting jobs. You don't want to talk about your sexuality. You don't want to you just do your job, sort of a thing, stick to acting.
Well, I mean, back in the day, it was only like 5 years ago where that was the case, where, I mean, really, up until like 2016,
yeah.
The whole thing about of being a voiceover actor was like, we are chameleons. We have no opinions and no real details about us, so we can play anyone, And then it all sort of changed, where it felt like our identities, whether it's racial, whether it's gender or sexuality, whether there's all sorts of aspects, whether it's, being a woman, there's all sorts of aspects of our lives that felt like they were under attack. Right. So it was like, I am not suppressing this for anybody anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, because, in some ways it's not a political opinion, like to be who you are or to believe in human rights. Like, it really isn't. And I always, I was very fortunate in some ways. Like, I didn't really start working much in voiceover until like 2017, 2018.
We already knew who you were.
And so in some ways, like you can't really, like, if you do live streaming, you can't really hide who you are, like you're on camera for like 3 hours at a time, just kind of talking, and like the eye of Sauron sees all. Like, people can't like pretend to be other things, that's not feasible. And so I kind of came into this being like, well, this is who I am. I got some bad advice in the beginning that was like, yeah, you just don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. But like, that very quickly all kind of fell by the wayside. And I'm grateful that sort of helped me fall in with the right crowd. All of the people on my social media, like on my Twitter, it's just like, they're so cool with like who they are and with who I am. And, all the people that we know in voiceover and acting are just, really great. And they're just so compassionate and charitable. And they go out of their way to try and change the world for the better. And I am so intensely grateful. I think we are trending towards better things every day.
For sure.
Okay, we're done. No, I'm just
kidding. That's it.
We solved it. We fixed it.
I do want to talk a little bit about because speaking of voiceover and things getting better and advocating for yourself and all kinds of great stuff, you are doing a thing next month.
I'm doing a lot of things next month.
Let me look at the calendar real quick.
Voiceover Summit.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. We're all. Oh my God. This is gonna be we're all just like hanging out. Really, honestly, any event that we do and stuff is just kind of an excuse for everybody to hang out, But yeah, there's a voiceover summit. Our dear friend Sissy Jones reached out to me and asked if I'd participate in a fireside chat. I believe it's going to be, oh my goodness, I think it's going to be airing on March 7th, my birthday. So yeah,
Pisces, it's Pisces.
Yeah, fishy fish. And so I know there are going to be a lot of discussions on very specific aspects of voice acting and vocal health and sort of mental health in voiceover, just so many different topics that are very specific to voice acting, whether you're a beginner or are already seasoned. And it's just kind of a chance and an excuse for all of us to kind of hang out and chat. So yeah, and it was, I don't know, it's so wild. Like when Sissy called me, I was like, hello, like, you want me to be part of a workshop thingy? Oh, because I don't know. Yeah, like, today that we are filming this is like the 5-year anniversary of Firewatch, and I remember playing that game, and that was like well before I was doing any voiceover, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this is truly BAFTA award-winning material, is what I said to myself while I was but yeah, it's I think the world of all of you and all of your, you know, your hearts and your talents. So it's an honor to get to be part of it.
Well, I'm thrilled that you're doing, like, I think it's great because I was looking, full disclosure, I'm also doing a panel, but our friend Julie Nathanson is doing some, I believe, a panel on mental health for voice actors. Good luck.
Awesome.
Uh, but I think it's fantastic that you are that you're doing, because you are relatively new to the job, and so often we get asked, like, you know, things have changed so exponentially in the business so quickly. So to ask someone that's been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years, you know, how they got into it, it's irrelevant.
Well, first you make a CD.
A cassette tape.
I heard
tape.
Like I heard,
Once upon a time, we had cassette tapes and even 8 tracks way back in the day.
Wait,
Reel to reels.
You didn't. Yes. You didn't. Really? 8 tracks.
I mean, I'm not.
Come on, what?
But no, there was 8 tracks,
no, we didn't.
And there was a casting place here in Los Angeles that you, once upon a time before COVID, you could go in and you could see all the 8 tracks on the wall. I don't even know how you would play an 8 track, but it's a bulky thing, and it has all these like great line drawings of people that you would remember from shows your parents watched. But yeah, it's so to have you talking about like what was your entree into the world of voice acting, and I think it's such a valuable. I mean, it's lovely to hear that you're super excited and all that stuff, but don't downplay your contribution, because there's a lot of people that are, have started out in other places or are coming into it fairly recently. And so your guidance and experience is really important. So yeah, I'm thrilled that you're doing it. It's called the Voiceover Summit. And I think you can get tickets at savara.org.
I have a link that I need to I'll
check this later.
Bam! We have thrown it up. It is magically in front of us.
Exactly. With the correct info. So don't pay attention to what we're saying. Look in the pop, wherever it will end up on the screen for the information.
Yes. It's been so interesting too, because before I was voice acting, I was professionally interviewing and chatting with voice actors, and I think that's where, like, I had you guys on on Game Engine to talk about that was with a Nerds Vote, and I had my shirt and everything, and yeah, it's been so amazing to hear everybody's stories, and how things have changed and how they've stayed way the same, and how everybody really, like, there is no sort of set way to get into voiceover. It really isn't, everybody has, like, most people I think had musical backgrounds, but for the most part, it's like, it's not
everybody.
That's the thing, not everybody, like, a lot of people like were in bands or on camera acting or radio, and I think a lot of a generation coming up now is we were fans of like anime and video games and cartoons, and we're like, I specifically would like to do that, and I was like this weird hybrid of a couple of those. So yeah, it's fascinating. And I wonder what, at some point I'm going to be like, yeah, I've just been doing this for so long. And like, we used to like email our reels, like to
now we just flash a chip. You scan my wrist.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get like, to get all my transhumanism things. Like, I'm going to have like a chip with all my information in it. I'm going to have like the retinal scan eye, that has like the HUD on it. That'll tell me everything about people. I'm going to have a robot arm that's going to be super good at violin. Cannot wait for my cyberpunk future.
It will just transform into a violin.
Yeah. You are a hybrid because you do have a musical background. You were an interviewer. You're a fan. You are. I mean, did you have acting experience?
Yeah, I was actually a child actor. I was a child actor, and then I was at the Strasberg Institute, like the method school.
Oh yes,
And,
very familiar.
I did a lot of improv here in LA, and now that's wild because it's like so many people that I improved with or were on the stage with me, like they're in like all these sitcoms or like writing on animation or and so it's wild to see like that class sort of grow up. So it's just like I got a little bit of everything. I'm very privileged in that way.
And also inspirational because there's Cissy Jones came from Silicon Valley.
Oh my gosh, I love her story.
She was like an executive assistant in Silicon Valley. There's all kinds of ways to get what you want. So no matter what your goal is, be it voice acting or anything else, I don't think that the cassette tape works very well anymore.
No.
But possibly not the CD-ROM. But there are lots of other ways to get what you want and keep in touch with people, because what Erika's saying is definitely true. The people you come up with, keep in touch.
That's, they always said that, like, that was one piece of advice they always said is like, be with your peer group, support your peer group, and it's not, I mean, aside from the fact that of like, what can I get out of this? It's like, it just be a good person. Like, just don't be a dick. It's just so, that is just so foundational. But that being said, like, find the people that you really connect with in your sort of cohort, and like, you're gonna run into each. It's such a small industry, and you're gonna keep like working together. And one of my favorite things about voiceover is the I don't know if I'm right for this. Like, have you talked to so and so, or
Yep.
like
Yep.
hey, have you auditioned for this, sort of a thing, which we would never do because we don't break NDA.
No, we're not supposed to ever do that.
No, we would never do that. But in theory, like the idea of that these are not your competition, they're your friends.
Yeah.
It's just, that's so cool, and I think that there's like that sort of misconception that there's like a like a lot of rivalry, a lot of backstabbing, that kind of thing. I've been fortunate not to ever experience that in voiceover, and on camera things are a little different. Things are a little more tense for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but voice acting's chill.
It's fine.
It just has to do with that, we have to see what each other look like all the time, and it's just like,
Although, like, people on voiceover are real pretty. Like,
oh, I know, but we're not pressured to be it. We're just like, we just live.
Inside out, because we don't care. That whole thing about a voice for radio or face for radio is like, I mean,
my mom
will say that we do try. Some of us, people who've been doing it for a long time probably do try a little bit harder now that more people are not, like, everyone's like, do you show pajamas? And I'm like, not anymore. Now I have to put on makeup and like actually, like, they want to see your face.
I mean, I put on makeup, but I'll still wear like whatever, man. And especially working from home now, like, during the summer, I didn't really have an AC, and I don't have an AC in my booth. So I was just like, they'd be lucky if I was wearing pants,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still a little bit of that, but my mom, I remember when I sort of first started getting to voice acting, she was like, like a lot of people with face made for radio, huh? And then she saw all the people I was hanging out with, and she was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
Man.
Days are over. But yes, I feel like I'm going to have to get new shirts when COVID is over, but new pants, new sweatpants, but not new jeans or anything like that, because they are pristine. Sitting that I just am like, before COVID, I did laundry a couple times a week. Now I'm just like, don't have to do laundry if you wear the same thing every day.
I feel like we're
Just
done.
burn it after a month.
Yeah, I feel like we're done with like jeans and uncomfortable pants. Like they're over. They're done now. Like we've adjusted to, that yoga pant life,
Mm-hmm. It's a bit of that.
Yoga pants.
I tried to wear some of my jeans because I just wear chinos all the time that are really like stretchy.
Yeah.
They're mostly lycra, and but I tried on my jeans and I'm like, oh no, I don't
They're
like
leg prisons.
They're real uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gained enough weight where I can't get into my jeans, but I don't want to.
Well, why would you want exactly?
Like,
Why would
I
you
put them
want-
on and then I'm like, what's that life hack where you put like like you take a rubber band and you like loop it through the hole and then you loop it around the button so it gives you just like an inch extra space.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see
So
what you
that you
mean.
don't actually have to button the top button into the proper hole.
Sure.
Extender.
That's clever.
Mhm.
I've never tried that. I'm
I'm
gonna.
do a tutorial on it for my my little Instagram channel that I have devoted to fashion, and some of it is fashion, and some of it is keep your clothes. You may need to get back into them, but for now,
Right.
this is a bra extender. This is a hack, so you don't actually have to button the top of your pants.
Yeah. Fashion hacks.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, like jeans used to be like, oh, these are the comfy things that I throw on later. They used to be my go-to comfy pants, and these days I'm like, oh, prisons. Horrible.
Yeah, and then I live alone too, so it's just like, who am I trying to impress?
Well, everything looks good in neon lighting, so I mean,
Amen.
yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna
Get
have
yourself-
a whole other thing happening next week, by the way. You've inspired me.
oh my god, like
Only neon lighting.
hue lights, or like color changing lights, and a ring light, and like it'll up your game tremendously. Then you're like gonna be then you're gonna be the jerk that shows up to your family Zoom calls looking like a streamer.
We don't
Yeah.
have family Zoom calls.
No, they don't know how to do it.
They don't want to talk to me.
Oh,
We saw you on the Instagram. We saw you on the Facebook. That's enough.
That was plenty.
I'm
Yeah.
not on Facebook, but okay, yeah.
yeah, my family mostly keeps to the text thread. We've got a real, it's like that text thread is popping. Like, yeah, it's very good. My family's great. Oh.
Well, I just want to bring it back a little bit to a couple of quick voting things, because if you're just joining us, this is Between Two Nerds, and we're part of nerdsvote.com, and we're here with Erika Ishii, and we're talking a lot about voice acting and a little bit about voting. So it is a fresh, brand new year, and we like to ask people, what are you looking forward to now that like maybe the stressy year of last year has come?
Vaccines. Like, I'm looking forward to that vaccine. Like, oh my god, like I will wait my turn. Like, I am so low risk, like I don't, I'm lucky not to be an essential worker, like I have to like go, or like have to go out much, I have a healthy immune system, I'm young, like I'm fine. I will wait it out, but like
after you.
Yeah. But I just want to hug my friends. I'm gonna rub my face up against their faces, and like I'm gonna share drinks with people. Like it's gonna be great.
Share drinks with people, like here.
Yeah. I just be like, pass the bottle around. Man, like, can you believe some of the things that we used to do? Like, oh my god.
I do. They feel like a distant, foggy memory.
Yeah, I know. I'm really looking forward to a time in which everybody can be safe. honestly.
sure.
That is the biggest thing. I'm like seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, and I don't know how far away it is or what's on the other side of it, but I know that it is there, and that is enough to keep me going. As I said, an administration that is like very much cares about that and about science, and about like a lot of the resolutions, just protecting the rights of marginalized people. That's really super good. And we're gonna keep the pressure up about all that. I am very, very lucky to have a lot of really exciting projects coming up. Just really honestly, like, you never want to jinx it, because like, what if they replace you? But
Stranger Things, right?
Well,
but
if you'd want to know about the things that are coming up, where would we find you on the internet?
oh yes, so I am at Erika Ishii on Twitter, at the Erika Ishii on Instagram, and TikTok. I started a TikTok. I gave in.
Do it.
It's so great. Like,
it moves too fast for me, but you do that.
Well, I'm
ADHD.
ADHD.
Like a sub tape.
Like, oh my goodness. All right, so it is exactly my pace, where I'm just like, no, this is almost a minute too long. But also, I found out today that the short film that I'm in, And Then, which is a queer romance set in Japan, about two artists that find each other. It's going to be, it's a selection at the Seattle Asian American Film Festival. So you can see it digitally March 4th through 14th.
Yay!
I have a link for that, up on my socials. And
What's it called?
It's called And Then. And we shot it like just before the pandemic hit. And so it's just like, it's wild, seeing us out there in like Shibuya, and it's just always a different world. So it's beautiful. It looks beautiful, and I'm terrified to see myself in it, but I'm so excited, and so you can see that.
Oh, it'll be stunning. I can't wait.
And yeah, again, like, I am on the socials a lot, and so and I have a lot of announcements and things to talk about there soon enough. So yeah, keep an eye out.
Will do.
Okay, so we still end it the same way as we ended it the last time you were here. So if you want to pick a character or not a character, just a message for our viewers, you can sign us off and we'll get out of here.
Okay. Hey, Night City, it's Ruth Zhang here, wishing you a good night and a good luck. Stay informed, Night City.